Nice to meet you.
Nice
Um,
to meet you, Bali.
because the time zones are different, and I've been meeting so many new friends from around the world recently. I've started saying "Happy Now, family." It's a greeting and it can be used as a farewell or a mantra for affirmation. Um, Kind of like the Hawaiian aloha, like "Happy Now." How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Bali. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks again for inviting me. Is the lighting okay? Um,
Yeah, it's good. Firstly, thank you very much for accepting my invitation and accepting to be on my show.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm honored. Um, it's always great to meet new friends or human family from around the world. Um, that's one of the upsides, I think, of the global events we're all experiencing as far as um, the pandemic and stuff. Um, but it's been hard for everyone, and the world's different than it's ever been. I think for all of us, but I think at the same time there's um, this expansion of uh, connection and creativity that's happening online, and um, you know, uh, for those that are willing to look inside and do the work, um, I think it's been a very powerful time for um, like mental and spiritual healing um, for some of us. Definitely hasn't been easy, but yeah, like it's definitely a unique and interesting time to be embodied as a human. Yeah.
So, I thought to tell about you and the work that you are doing to my audience and to the world who will listen to this uh, audio and video clip from anywhere on this planet.
Hmm. I think I might try and put my headphones on in a moment. I'm gonna make sure Bluetooth is off on my other phone here. Um, or maybe I'll turn the volume up on this phone. This is my first time. I downloaded Skype just for this appearance. Let's see. Um, okay. Yeah, the work I'm doing. The project I'm most excited about right now is I'm working with a group of other um, creative people on a new platform um, that we like to call a social media network instead of me, because in English, we say media, right, for TV, video, social media, right? But me implies singular, right? It implies the self, the ego. Um, so we'd like to describe what we're doing as a we, as in us, media network. Um, it's called Poetic, just us. Um, so it's another play on words. Um, it's a play on the word justice, right? Because we feel very strongly about social justice issues and working to promote equality um, and amplify the voices of people and artists who um, historically might not have had the opportunity to share their story as well as some other people, and that includes the African American community, the Black community, people with visible and invisible disabilities, um, people on the LGBTQ community. I myself am a member of both the LGBTQ community and the autism. I'm on the autism spectrum, so I identify as non-binary, um, which has been a journey for sure. It's something I'm still um, discovering and learning about myself. I only really got honest with myself, or came out of the closet, so to speak, towards the end of 2019. Um, so up until then, I had struggled a lot with self confidence, body image issues. Um, Also, recently learning that I'm on the autism spectrum, and you know, that's helped me to understand, you know, that I process things differently, and that's okay. But it's definitely helped me understand why I didn't feel like I fit in growing up, and why I couldn't understand why some people, you know, don't seem to feel as strongly as I do about the planet, or um, like seem to be. I've always wondered why some people seem to be so mean to each other. Um, and I got bullied a lot as a kid, made fun of, called names, all these things, and you know, looking back, I'm grateful for it because it's made me who I am today, and it's I've had so many examples of who I don't want to be. Um, but that's another thing about everything that's happening now with the connectivity and the conversations that are happening um, on like Instagram Live, uh, Clubhouse, which is a social audio app, um, and now Twitter Spaces, which is the same. It's like a conference call. Um, so I've been getting to talk with people from all around the world, and spending a lot of time in mental health peer support groups, and conversations about art and music and poetry. So that's really helped me get through um, some of the darker points um, in my own journey, and feel less alone. Like feel like there are other people that understand me, and that are willing to listen to what I have to say, or think about some of the things that I feel strongly about. So that's I'm really grateful for that. So may I ask you how long you've been doing these interviews?
I'm doing this from last 1.5 year.
Okay, so about since the start of all of this, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, how many people have you talked to?
more
Like,
than 480 people.
what's that?
More than 480 people.
Wow, that's super impressive. You must have had some amazing conversations, huh? Have you have so have you spoken with at least one person on every continent?
Yeah, I did more than I did interviews of people who are into more than 100 plus countries.
Wow, that's so cool. That's amazing. I wanted to wait to watch some of your other interviews, because I really wanted to get to meet you first. Like, and get to speak with you, and um, yeah, like, um, just get a vibe on who you are, and um, yeah. But I'm looking forward to going through, and watching some of the other interviews, and supporting some of the other people that you've uh, shared stories with, and um, yeah. Let's see. I'm zoning out just a little bit. It is almost 1 o'clock a.m. in the morning here, um, and working on the website and stuff with people. I've had some amazing conversations recently, and wrote quite a few new poems, and um, yeah, just feel really excited about where we're going with this platform, Poetic Just Us. Um, as of right now, um, we're still working on getting the funding to um, pay for a business account on Wix so that we can get a proper domain name. Um, but me and my friend Malika, who lives in the UK, she's originally from Uganda in Africa. We met through um, Instagram poetry lives, so very much like this, but the screen split top and bottom. Um, and her and I just, it was an almost instant connection. You know, um, I'm a firm believer in reincarnation, so I think a lot of the people that I've been meeting over the past couple of years um, at an increasing frequency and amount are like I feel like I've known them and you know um, traveled with them or shared stories with them in past lifetimes. There's just a familiarity. I don't know if you've experienced anything like this with some of the people that you've interviewed. Um, but so we started building the website about just about this time last year, and um, in the first few months, I was more active with trying to promote it and invite people to join us and share their artwork. But life kind of took me in a different direction for a while, and same with her. Um, so it kind of hit a back burner. But even without a proper domain name, we had site visitors from all around the world with zero money spent on ads. Um, like didn't even have a proper domain name, so we can't be found on Google or anything like that yet. So that feels really good because it all came from conversations just like this one. Like people that I talked to or shared art with. That took the time and energy, and spent their most valuable resource, which is our attention, our time, and energy on this planet to um, learn more about what we're doing. So that feels really good. Again, as someone who's, um, you know, for a lot of my life prior to this point, felt like people didn't care what I had to say or what I felt. So it means a lot to me. It, and even this invite, um, I'm super grateful that you saw or felt something in what I was sharing online that made you interested in getting to know me. And my battery just, my phone said to charge it. Just a moment. There we go. Sorry. Um, makes for won't be the best on recording, but it's not network television. This is real life. We're out here like um, I think um, a lot of people, myself included, sometimes um, tend to share like a curated snapshot, just the highlights of their life online on social media. Um, and so that's something I've been trying to do over the past couple of years is give um, kind of a full representation of everything that I go through. I have ups, I have downs, um, like, but you know, a lot of the spiritual paths that I've studied or you know, um, practices I've learned and stuff, like what I keep coming back to is balance. Like we all have we all have light and darkness within us. It's finding that balance, and it's a constant ride, right? Because life is energy, and energy is in constant motion. Yeah. So there's like balance isn't a stationary point. It's learning how to ride the waves, you know? That's kind of why I use the username that I do, Wobble Wolf. I've always felt a strong connection with wolves, and like that flux of balance. It's like a wobble. Um, plus with the music that I do, I like a lot of electronic dance music and like that wobbly bass. So um, layers. Um, that's kind of how my mind works and processes things. It's always connecting dots and looking for deeper meaning. Um, yeah.
So you create music.
I, as of right now, I do DJing, which is mixing two tracks together that other artists have created. I would like to get into production, which is, making something original. Um, but what I love so much about DJing music is, you know, I get to take something that somebody poured their heart and time and love and energy into, um, and mix that with some someone else's love and energy, and make something new and unique out of those um, art forms, and like expand upon, hopefully, pay homage to what the original creators of the tracks, um, were going for with the energy, and expand upon that and put my own unique spin on it, so to speak. And that's what I think is so beautiful about the art form of DJing.
You're doing that from last 11 years, 9 months.
Yeah, I started learning how to do it about 10 years ago, and like from a my friend, uh, his DJ name is High Note, um, and so I learned on actual turntables, Technics turntables, and a Rain battle mixer, um, which was pretty cool because that's where the culture came from originally. Um, like with the development of hip hop and dance music culture, it was two turntables and a mixer, and it was all by ear back when it started, because they were just playing on vinyl. Nowadays, I'm fortunate. So right over here, I've got my room's a bit of a mess. I apologize. Like I said, this is real life. Um, see if I can flip my camera around here. Oops. There we go. So I've got, there we go. But it's 1 second. There we go. Oh, I'm sorry to all your fans that are watching this recording after. User error on my part. So he's got the screen over here. So I run the software through that, and then I've got a digital controller that not only allows me to manipulate the tracks, but there's all sorts of effects and fun things that you can do on the pads at the bottom. Um, so essentially, what I do, the stuff that you listen to on SoundCloud, or I don't know if you saw the YouTube videos, but it's essentially like live remixing or mashups, because I go for longer mixes of tracks. I try to get two tracks going um, at the same time for as long as possible, before pulling the volume down on one track and mixing the next track in. Um, so it's fun because a lot of the way I like I haven't had the opportunity to play for like a large crowd live yet. I've done like smaller like open decks nights. which is basically an open mic night for DJs. There's a place in Portland, Maine called Flask Lounge, which is a awesome little club. They're you know, a safe space for the LGBTQ community, but it's not, you know, specifically, you know, like a queer space. Like people from all walks of life, you know, go there to enjoy music and dance and have a few drinks. Um, they they actually um, were broken into shortly after the start of quarantine, and their equipment was stolen. So a lot of DJs in the area did fundraisers on live streams and you know helped uh, raise the money to replace the stolen uh, house equipment there. And fortunately, they were able to you know open back up recently. I know a lot of businesses and establishments and venues all around the world, you know, have not been so fortunate, which is, you know, to me is a shame because um, spaces like that are so important, I think, to communities. Um, you know, to have a place to go and spend time with, you know, people you appreciate and, you know, dance and have a good time and just celebrate being alive. Um, I think a lot of us, you know, in our human family haven't had the opportunity to do that very much the last couple of years, and I think that's why, you know, um, so many people who might not have, you know, struggled with their mental health before are you know experiencing a lot of symptom manifestations, you know, things like depression, anxiety. Um, so, but yeah, what's I I hope I'm relatively cohesive in what I'm sharing. I feel like I'm bouncing around a little bit. So if I'm ever not making sense, please feel free to bring me back on topic. Um, I've just been thinking about so many things lately, and yeah, like what um, I guess what I keep coming back to is you know, I want to do whatever I can with however much time I have left here on this planet, um, to help others know that they're not alone, that their voice is valid, um, that you know I feel there is, you know, hope for us as a species, as a human family, if we continue to come together and have conversations like this. And um, that's that's why we're building this platform, Poetic Just Us. Is um, I really feel that art and creativity and music um, is an opportunity to transmute, to change emotions into something that other people can understand, um, or maybe like bring light into others' lives, even if the emotions are unpleasant, you know, pain, sadness, trauma, oppression. You know, some of the best music and art is made by people that have experienced some of the most extreme adversity and oppression and injustice. Um, you know, at least you know, in my opinion, like that's why, you know, I really like I love that's why I love hip hop so much, and I'm a huge fan of drum and bass music, which came from the jungle scene in the UK. which was like the UK dance music equivalent of hip hop. That's right. It started developing right around the same time in the 80s in black communities that did not have access to the same resources that their white neighbors might have, um, and they made do with what they had, um, and like created a new genre of music that expressed the um, frustration that they felt at their circumstances, and it's turned into um, a genre of electronic music that's appreciated all around the world. Um, so yeah, like um, as an artist or a creative um, storyteller, whatever you know title you choose to use, or like all these uh, gifts I've been blessed with to create and collaborate with people. Like I feel so grateful for all the artists that have influenced my life, because without art and music and um, deep thinkers, like books that I've read, um, you know new music that I've heard, or like especially some of my favorite artists, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I've struggled with depression um, since as long as I can remember, since childhood, really. Um, and if it weren't for the joy and hope that music and art has brought to my life, like I might have made that most ultimate of decisions that sadly too many people um, still do, of deciding to leave this plane of existence. You know, um, that yeah, um, that's why we're working on this project. And it's really exciting. I recently, got introduced or started using Discord, um, which is a platform that a lot of gamers use. Um, but it's really unique, and I'm finding it really easy to use because you have text channels that you can share text messages or links to artwork or um, that sort of thing. But there's also voice and audio capabilities. So if you want to, just have a voice conversation with one or two friends, you can do that. Or if you want to have, a video conference or do a presentation, it's very easy to do that as well. Very much like Zoom, you can like share your screen, and say like launch, show a presentation or whatever. So just in the last couple of days, I've set up a server, and right now I think 9 or 10 of my friends from Twitter Spaces and my ori- original business partner Malika have joined over on the server, and um, already started having some amazing conversations, and I'm learning how to use this technology to connect these ideas and um, thoughts that we have of what this platform can be and how we can use it to um, support other artists and raise awareness, um, and hopefully take action in the real world, um, to build a more equal and kind community for everyone, not just um, those that have, historically had the most money, and um, to me, that's exciting. um, yeah,
And you worked as a party shaman.
Yeah, so that's not a paid position. That's a title I kind of coined for myself. Um, like so yeah, I feel like a strong resonance. I think, in a past life I might have been a shaman or something, but um, it's also um, a projection of like one aspect of myself, that I'd like to be. Um, so my goal is to this is my this is my dream home and my dream car in one. So it's a Mercedes Sprinter van, but it's built out by Winnebago, so it's like an RV in a van. um, so it's got a little, it's got a little bathroom in there and like a little shower and everything. There's a stove set up, and the roof height on it. I'm only 5'2". Trying to remember what that is in centimeters. I think it's 157 centimeters. So I'm not very tall. So I toured one on my birthday last year, and I was like, I can stand up in here. It's about as uh, long as from about this chair to back here, maybe a little bit more. And there's room for storage. So what I'd like to do when I figure out how to manifest one of these um, is, I'd like to travel around the country and meet all of these people, at least that I've been meeting online, at least the ones that live in this country, and tell their stories. And I would like to be able to go to music festivals, hopefully get some DJ bookings, but just to be able to connect in person with people and celebrate life, and um, kind of share the unique understanding of the world that I've been gifted with through my life experiences, and through a constant search for understanding, and um, you know like trying to find inner peace, and like get to know myself so that I can help others who are trying to do the same. So that's kind of what the party shaman thing means to me. Like I want to be like a little nomad, or gypsy, and be able to go, and even if I don't have bookings, if I have one of these vans, I could go to the beach and I could set up a table and DJ some music for anybody that might happen to be around and want to dance. Like just throw pop-up parties as I go, and just bring positive vibes, you know, um, to wherever I happen to be. Like that's kind of yeah, that's that's ultimately like the picture that I have of party shaman. Some of some of the things that I put on my LinkedIn were, you know, really just to like um, either project like the type of person I want to be, or just show um, people on LinkedIn that I am not like anybody else they're gonna reach out to for a job, because I've tried working conventional employment in the past, even as recently as last year. I had a job offered to me um, for a local company that supplies coffee shops, and it wasn't a like the work responsibilities weren't too bad, but um, part of what comes with being on the autism spectrum is I'm incredibly sensitive um, to like sounds and sights, um, and I think also like to other people's energy. I really feel like that's where my social anxiety comes from, because you know I could you know meet two random strangers, right? And one I might feel an instant affinity to, and like we were old friends. And the other one, I like, might act all nice or whatever, but I like feel like uncomfortable or um, I think it all comes down to we all emanate our mental, spiritual, emotional state, whether we realize it or not. And people like myself that are on the autism spectrum or maybe that have struggled with different, what modern medicine defines as mental illness. I think we're more sensitive to those energies. Um, so yeah, um, so like yeah, so like when I phrase some of those things on LinkedIn, um, I wanted to give kind of a representation because there might be some like-minded and spirited people that I haven't met yet that use LinkedIn more regularly. Um, that might be looking for a freelancer. Um, but at this point, at this point, I'm more concerned with following my heart and doing what feels right in my heart, whether I get paid money for it or not, because I'm fortunate to live in an area of the world um, that is relatively free from the turmoil and strife that happens in other places. I mean, look at Ukraine and Russia right now. Yeah. Um, I'm also very aware of the privilege that this skin shade provides me. Um, it's something that's really bothered me in the past because I live in an area of the United States that is not very diverse. Okay, um, and I've always, felt very strongly about um, like the inequalities within society. Like I've been aware that people are treated differently based on the way that they look, even since I was a child, and that's always bothered me. And I never could really understand why, um, like my parents or other adults in my environment didn't weren't as bothered by this. But I think it comes back to, you know, like a higher than average empathy that comes with being on the spectrum. Um, so yeah, but I feel like as far as money goes, like I really trust the path that I'm on. Like it feels like something that I'm guided to do in a way. Um, like yeah, like in my life so far, I've always kind of been looking for deeper understanding. I was raised Roman Catholic, right, which is a um, pretty strict religious structure. Um, but like I had questions that um, the clergy in our area, when I was a youth, couldn't answer in a way that was satisfactory to me at 8 or 9 years old. You know, um, I said, we're supposed to follow the Ten Commandments, right? But the first one is, I am the Lord thy God. You shall not worship anyone or any idol before me, right? Something like that. It's been a while since I looked at the Ten Commandments, but I'm pretty sure that's the first one. And I remember asking my priest about that and being like, but we have all these pictures of Jesus and saints and this and that. And um, I just like, I don't remember what he answered, but it was basically like, you know, that's the way it is. You have to have faith, like believe what I say. And I've never been, I, I've never, that has never sat well with me. Like when people say that's just the way the world is. Why? You know, like why has always been my favorite question. and often goes uh, unanswered, or is answered in a way that is unsatisfactory to me. It doesn't make sense. I want life to make sense. Um, so, you know, uh, when I attempted to do the army at one point, I did about a year and 7 months in the U.S. Army in an attempt to teach myself some discipline and get away from drinking. Because after my 21st birthday, uh, I started drinking on an almost daily basis, and I wasn't pleased with myself. Like, I felt like I was going nowhere. So I was like, maybe if I join the military, I'll um, learn some discipline and be able to slow down on drinking and stuff like that. And yeah, no, I was able to make it through basic training and stuff. But when I got to the base that I was stationed in on Oahu, Hawaii, you know, I realized that most of the people there, pretty heavy drinkers. Yeah, and it's just a pattern I spotted. I try not to make like broad over generalizations, but then again, especially um, people that have had to deploy, had to go to war, um, had to witness atrocities or make split second decisions. Do I shoot this child or risk them throwing a bomb in our truck? You know, um, I I mean, just just the energy, like talking about it or hearing other people's stories, it, like, breaks my heart and makes me so sad. I couldn't imagine actually living through that. Um, I got fortunate to be discharged, before I had to deploy. Um, but while like during that time, um, I had ups and downs. I practiced a form of Buddhism um, called Nichiren Buddhism, um, which came out of Japan. And it actually came to Hawaii first from Japan shortly after World War II. Like um, that was kind of an interesting coincidence or synchronicity to me. Um, but it's like a chanting based, like mantra practice. Uh, they recite in Japanese a couple portions of the Lotus Sutra. Um, so let's see, yeah. So that was um, definitely a highlight of my time in Hawaii. But also at the same time, like, I was finding myself feeling trapped and like I had made the wrong choice in joining the military. I wasn't really the best soldier. um, you know, like I said, I have always questioned authority because I have very strong views about what I think a good leader is. And most people that I've encountered so far in my life that are in leadership roles do not stand up to that ideal that I have in mind of what a leader should be and how they should conduct themselves. Um, so I got in trouble a lot. I got made to do a lot of physical exercises because I was late in the morning for PT, um, or forgot a piece of gear for training or something. Um, so my arms got pretty strong while I was in Hawaii because at one point I had a squad leader that would make me do 50 push-ups every time I saw him. So for a good solid couple months during that phase, I was doing 400 or 500 push-ups a day. It got to a point where I was just like, "What's up, Sark?" Well, banged them out. Um, but and at that time, I encountered a couple other people, one of whom had got back from deployment and lost a family member stateside while they were over there. Just tragic, and fell into using a lot of substances, drugs, right? That you know, before I joined the army, I'd sworn up and down like, oh, I'll never do, ecstasy. I'll never do psychedelics. Like, um, but that like, um, basically tried everything short of heroin while I was in Hawaii for the first time, and for a while there was using pretty frequently. So I got in a little bit of trouble with that, and I checked myself into the Army Substance Abuse Program, and I was fortunate to meet um, Dr. David Bevitt, beautiful soul, um, and he was actually the first um, medical professional that I saw that suggested I might be on the autism spectrum, that I might want to look into that. But also, he had a strong connection to his Native American heritage, and he suggested to me as an additional form of therapy um, to our office sessions. He and a couple other um, tribal members held sweat lodges um, at a ranch on the north shore of Hawaii. Um, Magical place, very strong energy. Um, and I don't know if you've heard the term sweat lodge, but like the Native American tradition of sweat lodge, they dig kind of like a hole in the ground, and there's a pit that they put rocks in. Outside they have, and it's domed, so, like canvas, not like uh, the teepees that are pictured, in a lot of uh, um, like older Western films and stuff like that. It's more of a dome, and there's a small hole at the top for the heat to escape. But these rocks are heated on fire. It's very hot in there. It's a pretty small space. I think there's enough room for 8 to 10 people to sit in a circle. Um, and that was a really powerful experience because as they're doing it, they say these prayers that have been passed down for hundreds, if not thousands, of years, and um, like drumming and chanting and um, yeah, they like kind of losing my train of thought on where I was going, but it was a very very powerful um, experience, and I definitely felt um, you know a release or a healing start to take place there of letting go of some of the pain and frustration that I've carried most of my life at like feeling misunderstood or doubting the direction that the creator is guiding me um, to connect with people and to be part of um, changing the things that have bothered me, instead of letting them defeat me. Um, but it's definitely a struggle. Like um, some days are harder than others. Some days are magical. Um, I've made some mistakes that I would give just about anything to take back. Um, but they've made me who I am today, and um, also taught me that um, you know I have no right to judge another human being or like feel better than someone else in any way, um, because you know everyone on this planet deserves to be here, deserves love and support and shelter and clean water, and too many of us don't even get those things, you know. So you know um, that's what I've been coming back to in recent days in life, especially with everything going on in the world. Um, I try not to look at the news because I know messed up things are happening. I know people die every day. I know there's a war happening, and um, not just the highly publicized one in Ukraine. Like there have been wars going on in Africa and South America, you know, for decades. Um, and it if I can find a way, or like be part of a change of that energy in any way, right? That's how I want to spend my time on this planet. Is like sharing a message of kindness and compassion and empathy for our human family. Um, if I may, would you mind if I shared a poem?
Sure, sure.
This was one that I wrote just yesterday, I believe. Um, yeah, Tuesday. So March 1st. It's rolled over into March 3rd over here now. But this one is actually titled "Poetic, Just Us," after the community, and it was inspired by a lot of the things I've been talking about so far, and these, especially a few really profound conversations that I've had with some people that have you know uh, joined our story just over the past couple of weeks, and have had you know have expressed interest in helping make this thing happen. So it goes like this. It's titled "Poetic Justice." Introspection, connection, new directions, inspiration and insights, giving light to reflections, crafting into mirror images of self and other, soul siblings of every age and color, conversations, not just of words, but of the energetic kind, hard to define, of empathy and emotion, feelings and vibes, taking place on the virtual gathering grounds where a new tribe, at once ancient and like any before, is being formed by those brave enough to shed societal norms or conform to constructs crafted to keep us complacent, escaping the basement of basic instinct, forging tools to battle bigotry with beauty and bring our planet and family back from the brink of extinction with art and kindness and new ways of thinking. But this is only the beginning, the saga of our story unfolding with the unique talents and gifts brought by each new traveler that joins us journey, even the brief glimpse of the glory that yet awaits, astounding.
Nice.
Thank you. I have another one that I wrote recently. Um, so, in the United States, the month of February is Black History Month, which in and of itself is subtle racism. Okay, they give they give uh, Black History in America the shortest month of the year. That was done intentionally. Um, so that's you know, that's something that bothers me. But a website that I'm on that's called Vocal Media. They run writing contests throughout the year based on different themes, and one of the ones for Black History Month um, was called "We Have a Dream Challenge," and it was based off of the ideas and ideals that were expressed in Martin Luther King Jr.'s Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous "I Have a Dream" speech. Um, So I basically asked, you know, um, anyone entering the contest to kind of write on what their dreams were, or like how they planned to um, be a part of, making those ideals and dreams that um, Reverend King expressed in his poem real. Um, so I like just reading the prompt, like I sat down and started writing. A lot of my writing is very like that. I can't really write if I'm not feeling inspired. Um, and some of it is processing heavier, unpleasant emotions, and other times it's like this, like dreams. Um, so this is called Sea, um, like SEE, like sea, but also like ocean, sea of dreams. See, I have far too many dreams to list. Picture, for instance, a multi-hued, endless sea, skyward fists, sharing strength to peacefully resist oppression, fear, and ignorance. A symphony of diversity, individual instruments intertwined and synchronized seamlessly, achieving harmony effortlessly, singing songs of freedom and equality, destroying the deafening silence of an epoch of apathy, greed, and violence, one that is currently collapsing, despite those who've misled us desperately grasping at the reins of control, purchased at the cost of their souls, keeping us separate, though most of us long to connect, be whole. You see, I dream of a world where we're no longer imprisoned, physically, mentally, or spiritually, by a select, secretive, and misguided branch of our shared family tree, who've historically held power through techniques and trickery, wielded meanly through means overt and subconsciously, methods ranging from lynchings on public streets to love scenes on movie and TV screens, but only the ones they want us to see. Our true freedom of choice subverted by a certain culture's whispering voice, and then repressing and silencing our siblings who raised their own too loudly in opposition. From Martin Luther King Jr. to Brother Malcolm, Tupac to Lenin, violent reminders from the villains with billions that peace and love are more powerful than division. You see, if the forces that oppose us can't discredit dreamers in public opinion, they've shown time and again that they're willing to kill us, poisoning once pure waters of collective consciousness. Sly lies disguised by public grief over the loss of another guiding light, they whisper. Dreams can be dangerous, especially if you get too many other dreamers listening. You see, the dreams I picture are drawn from a long line, connecting dots drawn by artists and dreamers who've lived purposely through turbulent times, some of whom have fought and died, daring to draw outside culture's coloring book's lines. Kings and queens leading battles in the spiritual war waged against us since its beginning, a war that we are winning. Individuals and communities escaping a weakening web of lies, woven by eyes who gaze blind upon different, choosing to fear and despise, instead of expanding their view and looking deeper to find the beauty and wonder our contrasts can hide. But before you color me crazy, after carefully considering, or summarily, know that my objective isn't to lead your mind, rather only free mine to dream bigger and do better, and as often as possible to be kind to myself and those I meet, regardless what may occur at any given moment outside or in the depths of my own mind. You see, Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. And if you ask me what kind of world I wanted to see, I tell you that for as long as I can remember, I just wanted to see a world that was more kind. You see, the sea of my dreams is an ever-changing liquid vision, forever flowing into existence. I dream of drops of kindness practiced individually, leaking into love, spreading between friends and family, surging into selflessness, spilling into the streets, soaking soulmates and strangers in every community indiscriminately with compassion, rippling outwards exponentially in every direction, eventually towering into a tidal wave of humane change, powerful enough to wipe away a whitewashed age of fear and pain. Clearing common ground we can as one reclaim to collectively create a rainbow-hued masterpiece in coming days, building upon the stable foundation of a shared remembrance, one I feel is of vital importance, the sacred duty of supporting and holding our shared planetary parent, reverence. You see, she's been here long before and is destined to outlive us. But if we can't turn if we can't turn the tide soon, then one day soon she might disown us. So I feel it might be wise if we sow seeds of peace and progress while the sun yet shines upon us. You see, at the end of the day, even though life sometimes feels like a nightmare, I can honestly say I'm living my dreams, claiming the gift of each moment gratefully, and as often as possible taking the opportunity to expand imagination and intuition, to learn and to listen, accomplishing my personal tasks so we can succeed in our shared mission of winning a future where all are free to dream. Finally, though I may doubt at times, I still believe not only the outline I've traced on this screen, but in everyone's right and ability to transmute pain, hopes, and dreams into reality. Though invariably we will face obstacles and adversity, if we fight for love, we will succeed. So if you should choose to take a simple suggestion from me, and I could choose what that would be, it would be this. Never stop dreaming. Keep believing. We heal.
Great.
I saw that you work in um, technology, yeah?
Yeah, I'm a software engineer and
Software.
a podcast. Yeah, I did masters in software engineering and bachelor's in computer science and engineering, and I'm doing these interviews.
Wow. That just like that sounds complicated. I mean, like you have a master's. You don't look very old. Um, that's impressive. May I ask your age? Is that okay?
I'm 29.
You're okay. So you're 25 and you have a
Uh,
master's. Okay,
I'm I'm 29.
29. Okay. Still though, like you don't look 29. You look like mid 20s maybe. Um, that's still a master's and a bachelor's. Like that's impressive. That's that like like and again with engineering and software, I just know the surface level technology stuff. I'm good at figuring out user interfaces, but like I couldn't imagine, what it takes to actually create some of these programs and stuff. Um, that's really neat. Um, yeah, like I like my education and experience is mostly like lived experience. I did okay like in the classroom in school, because I love to learn, right? Um, but I was never good with homework. um, so yeah, I've debated, like looking for funding and maybe going back to school for um, a couple different things. Like that's the problem too. I can't decide like what one thing I want to focus on, because again the way my brain processes, like I have, you know um, people on the autism spectrum like have what are called special interests, and we'll get like really really into something for a while, and then after a while like you stop doing that thing. Sometimes forever, or sometimes like until we our interest is back, into it. Um, so like I mean, you saw my link tree. I have 4 or 5 different projects at least that are in progress in various stages of completion, but um, I've struggled to earn income through any of them because I'm always moving from one thing to another. Um, but that's why I'm really trying to focus most of my like as much of my energy when I have it, onto the Poetic Just Us platform that I mentioned, because I feel like that's like not only will give me maybe the opportunity to earn money and be able to um, you know travel and you know but I'm hoping if um, it continues to grow in the way that it has been, and the way my friends and I believe it has the potential to, um, I'm hoping it will start generating enough interest and financial resources to be able to support other artists in, like around the world that might not have access to, um, technology to, you know, um, create, or might not even have access to water, or yeah, like um, I'd like to make it so that we could have a fund to help support and um, you know do projects around the world, um, in areas that have been underserved by um, the current government structures that we have and stuff. Um, so many things. It's um, but sometimes I get a little lost in either like yeah, like my attention goes too far out in too many directions, so I gotta recenter here and now. Um, yeah, Do you have any other questions? I do feel like I've rambled quite a bit. I hope that's okay. I hope I'm making sense at least.
Yeah, it's okay. And you're working right now as a resident disc jockey.
Oh, okay. That was so I did have a weekly show on PBM TV, um, which is a nonprofit um, 24-hour streaming platform. Um, but I had to take a break from that to focus on my mental health. Um, yeah, I should really update that LinkedIn. um, see. Um, but yeah, I had to take a break from that because the the processing demands on my computer to do live streaming and mix the way that I do, my computer kept overheating and freezing midstream, um, which like was frustrating, and also like as a performer that like kind of upset me because like I see being able to perform for people as an opportunity, you know, and like um, if you know my technology or my equipment isn't working in a way that allows me to like project the vibes that I want to, like um, it's frustrating. And like um, so that was kind of a bummer to have to take a break from that. But that is a beautiful platform. They have artists and musicians from all around the world. Um, you know, their goal is to have 24/7 live streaming. Um, uh, I think yeah, they even have like some like yoga and meditation um, shows that happen throughout the week. Um, so yeah, I would definitely recommend anyone watching this to go check them out too, because there's so many great artists and creators over there as well. Um, yeah, let me see. Um, I apologize. I feel like I could have been a little better prepared. um, what I could do. How are we doing on time? How long are the interviews usually?
Yeah, I'm doing interviews from last 1.5 year. Like I said, I do like 10 interviews in 15 days. Sometimes 15 days, 15 interviews. Like I'm doing regularly. Like who are into different countries, who are into different professions. My field is completely technology. So understanding life experiences and work experiences of different individuals who are into different part of the world actually helps me in understanding different perspectives and also opens a lot of doors in my mind and also uh, tells uh, tells that there are different types of thinkings in humanity. Different people are thinking in different way. Like you said, in from past 1 hour, I was trying to connect with the creative work that you did. Like I can't do what you did, and you can't do what I did.
Right.
So like I don't
Exactly.
understand how the nature created two different thinking people into two different parts of the world and making uh, having two different thinking process. So I want to understand logically how this is, why this is happening, why this human mind have is unique. Like
Mm.
one person won't think like other person. I think this differences in thinking. I think sometimes it creates violence, but when we understand this is the this is the fact of life. Like everybody have their own way of looking at things and observing and uh, connecting things. So
I'm loving the sounds of the birds in the background too. Speaking, it's still pretty cold up this way. So we just got some snow the other day, so the birds haven't quite come back this way yet. Um, but I'm looking forward to that. Like when um, it starts to get a little bit warmer here in the springtime, you know, and the snow melts, um, the green starts coming back out again, and like you start hearing birds every morning, and um, yeah. But the you know what you're saying about ways of thinking, um, yeah, like different but same. You know, like I've wondered very much the same things growing up. Like, you know, like more so my question is like, why can't we just get along? You know, um, but I think that's what's so like it's hard to define logically, I guess. But that's to me what's magical about the human experience, right? Because I think modern medicine and modern science um, has kind of uh, over specialized humanity as a species and like looks at the human experience in a very mechanical way. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you know, your knee hurts. Like, here, take this pill. You know what I mean? When in reality, like, we're like the body is a system, right? And like, I really feel like awareness, like just being able to think and ask these questions that we're asking, right? I think it's more than um, more than we can quantify with words or with um, even you know the advances we're making in technology. I think there truly is something magical about being embodied as a human and being able to think and communicate and change. Like you know, like you know, because you know you started this process because you wanted to get to understand yourself and humanity better, right? I think that's the general impression that I got, and that in and of itself, like that's admirable, and very few people around the world, you know, take the time to wonder those things, or if they do, like take action on it and do something about it, and make change. Um, you know, I've read a couple books that are pretty fascinating about neuroplasticity, and they have been able to quantify that. You know, even people that have had, you know, extreme like injuries or traumatic like brain injuries, right? Like people that have even lost like segments of their brain, right, have been able to relearn how to speak or move or like live after, you know, science is like, wait, like science used to think that like this one section of your brain controlled this one thing, and if you lose that, like you can't. Like again, I'm not I'm not a like trained scientist, and I only remember the impression that I got from the book. Like I couldn't quote it for the life of me, but yeah, like you know, was talking about people like relearning how to speak after losing like whole segments of their brain, or you know, like I've heard and seen so many stories and like watched documentaries about people that have had um, injuries or illnesses that doctors said, you know, oh, you've only got 5 months to live, and they go, you know, and they seek out other advice and make lifestyle changes or change their diet, change their ways of thinking, change their activities, change the people they're around, and all of a sudden they go back to the doctor and this illness is gone. Like cancer, or people that recover from like spinal injuries and stuff, like falls or something that break their back, and doctors say they won't walk again, and just through willpower and determination and like belief that they're able to like heal themselves. Like um it just shows the power that our attention and awareness has if we direct it and like take control of it. And even that is something I've struggled with, because sometimes I get scattered, or like feeling very anxious or depressed, and I've had days or weeks at a time where it's hard for me to even get out of bed, right? Spend 12, 14 hours a day in bed, because I go, what's the point? you know like um but the point is, like, I have the opportunity to do something, like to change it. It might be hard work, and it might suck sometimes, but like that's you know, um, to put it in a phrase, or yeah, the purpose of life is to live with purpose, right? So that's 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 what I've been trying to do, and you know, um, I feel like you're doing in your way, and so many other people that have inspired me. Like they've taken their unique talents and gifts, or um, things they felt strongly about, and they've lived purposely. They um, take action towards goals, right? Um, and yeah, but my personal belief, like why we think different, is like, again, I believe in the existence of souls, and I believe in reincarnation. Um, it's how I make sense. Like, I might not be able to quantify it, but if this experience was just a biochemical mechanical process, like, that to me would be kind of meaningless. If we only had one chance at this, you know, like, life as a human is complicated. We make a lot of mistakes, you know, um, and there's so much to learn on this planet. Um, so many things to experience, So I feel like the um, you know being embodied as a human is a blessing, um, if we treat it as such, you know. And again, that just goes back to the power of, like, the magical experience in my mind, because if if we think and say and live like life is shit, like it has no purpose, then life is shit and has no purpose. Um, and I've experienced that in my life, like phases where I just feel like nothing matters. Like, there's nothing I can do, to tackle all these big things that are going on. I mean, we're like, I live in the United States, and the military budget for the United States military is obscene, like trillions of dollars, right? to fund people killing other people. It's disgusting, in my opinion. Um, but like, what I can do is I can be kind, and I can at least live my life in a way that is in opposition to that, in a peaceful way. You know what I mean? Like, because I've struggled with that too. I've been like, oh yeah, fuck the government, or like this, that, the other thing, like, you know. But the only way to like really fight negativity is with positivity and love. Um, Love will always be stronger than fear. People throughout history have come to us and shared that with us, whether it be, you know, uh, Jesus, Buddha, Gandhi, uh, Ramana Maharshi, so many yogis, saints, sages around the world, you know, come to us, and they go through, a lot of them go through very, very dark times, you know, before they, you know, start walking the spiritual path. Um, you know, like that, or, you know, um, it was Paramahamsa Yogananda. Um, he started his path kind of early, but that to me just speaks of like it's an indicator that points to me to reincarnation. You know what I mean? Like he made progress in a past lifetime and came and was more aware in this one. Um, but yeah, like autobiography of a yogi, like that was a powerful account. He lived quite the life. Um, oh, just got a nice crack out of my back. I adjusted myself. Um, I just thought of another piece that I wrote that, see, sometimes I have a hard time in conversation because my mind's processing so many things at once. That's like I don't always have the bandwidth to speak. Like especially if I'm anxious or like you know um, I get sensory overload sometimes from like certain sounds or even like materials on my skin. And when I get in those states, sometimes it's hard for me to like communicate in text messages because I like analyze, you know, the text that somebody says, and then I like overthink my response or like how might they respond to this or that, or like am I conveying myself properly. But something about um, like when I write poetry or like I have a couple pieces that are like more like prose. They're just kind of like stream of thought kind of things. Um, but I feel like writing has helped me tremendously to be able to feel like I can express what's going on in my mind and heart. Um, and I wrote this piece a while back called Communication is Magic. I make magic with words, sentences, syllables become spells, paper or phone screen becoming prophecy, increasing the probability of manifesting one of infinite possibilities, potentially allowing me the ability to author the story I wish my life to be. Concepts and constructs, drawing lines between the dots of data my analytical mind ceaselessly seems to find, to attempt to assemble the puzzle I am. Lines drawn in the sand, sometimes swept away by the tide of churning sea of uncertainty. Its flow reminding me, often uncomfortably, that nothing is permanent, aside from an unshakable force that through symbiotic synchronicities, sooner or later, returns all being source. This power that at times leaves me empty, but right now, awe at my own access to allow, often without knowing how, this symphony that we are all instruments in, to pour into this vessel, not designed to contain it, rather than condense it, crucible, sensory stimulation, alchemical transmutation, turning moments to movement, back to the point where all lives intersect, which I can never expect to understand, guided by an undeniably present hand, pointing out where my next step should land, as if to say, yes, that way. As I listen, more than ears, my fears, doubts, my prior, pitiful progress. At odd times like this, profess the profound truths all possess, assuming we ever acknowledge them. But that's what makes life magical, isn't it?
Awesome. So, at last, what do you say to the world who is watching and listening to this conversation?
What would I say to anyone? First, thank you for sharing your time and attention with us here. All the things, so many choices we have these days. Um, things we can choose to put our attention on. You chose to be here with us through the whole interview. So thank you. Um, Regardless of where you are, what you're going through, you're loved, you're valid, you matter, your voice matters. There, there are people that want to hear your story.
And as a creator, uh, as a creative thinker, you do DJ, you mix things, you have to create some different energy. You have that kind of a mindset, and you also write poems, beautiful poems. You have, it. I can understand you have a great imagination about
Thank
the nature and about great understanding about the the universe. I think.
my artist name that I chose is symbiosis, which comes from a Greek word. Um, but base like so bio is like earth, or like the term biology came from that as life, right? Um, and like sim, or like synchronicity, right? It's multiple. Okay, so symbiosis simply means like a mutually beneficial exchange, whether in an ecosystem or so in an ecosystem, a symbiotic relationship is like two or more species that are interdependent upon the life cycle of the other for their experience. If one species were to go extinct, the other would as well. So like a bird feeds upon the shrimp or something that um, brain. But it was explained to me as a youth in a drumming group that we did a full stage performance. It was amazing. We had basically like Stomper Blue Man Group. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but we drummed on buckets, trash cans, street signs, like the slogan that our mentor came up with was turning junk into funk, right? So even that was an early experience in alchemical, like turning one thing into another. Um, but when I first learned the word symbiosis, it was described in a performance aspect, right? Performance art aspect. So like when you're up on stage, you're performing for people. Um, there's this moment, like if people are into what you're doing, you know it, and like feel this expansion, like, oh, all right, like they're enjoying this, like, and then you enjoy what you're doing more because you're like, yeah, more excited, and that's reciprocal energy, and it can be like transcendent, the spiritual. Um, even at like 14, 15 years old, I remember like, you know, there's still like nothing that I've done that can quite compare to that feeling of like interconnectedness. Um, so yeah, so like the simple definition is mutually beneficial coexistence, and that to me is what um, art and what humanity is about. And it goes back to your question of why do we think differently? Because I think if we can learn to communicate effectively and appreciate and value each other's differences, we can solve these problems in creative ways and learn how to bring our species back into balance with the planet. Because I think for too long, um, we've been living in a way as a global culture where we take more than we get back, and we're really starting to see the effects of that on a large scale. You know what I mean? That like climate change, global warming, species going extinct, um, these wars and stuff that are happening when really there's enough to go around. There always has been. There's been enough food. There's been enough clean water, but we have distribution problems right now because you know the people that need things most don't have the money, and the people that have the supply would rather throw something away than you know like not make money off it or give it away to people that need it. So I think that's what I want to be a part of trying to solve. Like not so much asking why, but what can I do, or like how can I be a part of changing that? Um, and I know there are plenty of people in various different fields and all around the world that um, I think collectively we're more conscious of these imbalances than ever, and more than ever, people want to change these things, um, and that to me is really exciting and what gives me hope for the future. Because really, the people that have run the world for the longest, they're pretty old. You know what I mean? And I think there's enough people, in our generation that are waking up that like there's there's the way things have been can only go on for so much longer before enough of us just go, you know what? We've had enough of this garbage. We're going to start taking care of each other now. Like, you old, mostly white men have had your time, in the limelight. Take your billions of dollars, go off to your private island, pass away in peace. Let us, take the planet over so that, you know, your grandchildren and stuff actually have a planet to live on. But I don't know. That's just my dream, and you know, I'm hoping to continue to connect with other people that share similar visions and new ideas of how we can get to that future. That's 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 the future that I want to see. Even if I, you know, don't get to see the completion of it, you know, to know that my niece and nephew, and you know, if they choose to have children, you know, and if they, if if and if, you know, but even if, you know, my family line doesn't continue, I, you know, I want to know that I did what I could when I leave this planet to make sure the planet was still here for other people to, you know, have experiences and have conversations like this, you know.
So, what is your observation about my work as a creative thinker? Me talking with different country people, communicating with different kind of mindsets who came from different fields, different backgrounds, different um, parts of the world. So, what I'm going to learn from this and how these uh, videos of mine or these conversations of mine is going to create. Uh, uh, what kind of energy that is going to create in the on this planet with the conversation that I have with people like you, creative thinkers, coming to my show and telling the stories and letting other people to know the stories. How this is going to uh, make change in people who will listen to this.
Yeah. Um, I think, you know, you're already doing a great service to not only the people that you've spoken with, and I'm sure you've learned a lot along the way, but you know, and again, I wanted to wait until I met you to see some of the other interviews. But I'm personally looking forward to going through them and you know, getting introduced to um, you know, these other people, you know, that you've um, you know, shared your platform with, and you know, created this library of human experience. um, I think the potentiality of how that could, you know, benefit others, it's definitely too big for me to quantify right now. um, you know, I would very much like to get to know you better in the future. I have to get going shortly because you know, I have bodily functions that need to be taken care of. I've had a bit too much coffee this evening, but you know, I would love to continue this conversation in the future, and I'm definitely looking forward to going through you know, some of the other interviews, and yeah, I'm sure a lot of people and creators in my community, um, the platform that's developing, because we're more and more we're becoming a global community. You know what I mean? So I think um, you know, you said 400 something interviews, 400 unique perspectives and stories and sets of talents and skill sets. Like that is in and of itself, like you are creating um, an armory of attention. Okay, so you're creating this space where um, like people who believe in your story and follow your platform can go and learn about other people's stories. You know, I saw on Twitter you have 20 something thousand followers. That's 20 something thousand more unique stories that might gain hope, insight, or clarity about their story from your story and other people sharing their stories. Like that's beautiful. You know what I mean? Like you're doing beautiful work by doing this. You know what I mean? Just by having conversations with people and like trying to understand and um, you know empathize um, with you know people who like you might never have had the opportunity to meet were it not for this technology and were it not for this um, global series of events that we're going through where we all kind of had to take a step back from our routines or like what we're comfortable with, you know, and you know it's been detrimental for some people, but instead of letting it stress you out and be like, oh, this is awful, you're like, oh, how can I use this time to improve myself and improve others? And like that's like that's the kind of thing that inspires me. And I always love like again I really appreciate that you reached out to me and invited me on your platform. Like when I saw how many followers you had and stuff, that was one of the impressions that I had. I might not have put words to it because I'm, my brain's going in so many different directions, right? But I saw that, and that's not a number to me. You know what I mean? Like those are humans, those are people, right? And um, at least most of them, there are bots and fake accounts, spam accounts, whatever, but like there are thousands of people that believe in what you're doing and want to hear the stories that you're sharing. Like that's beautiful, you know. Um, and I'm super excited and grateful to get a chance to join you and have a conversation and I really hope that um, at least a couple of people that watch this like gain some value in their life experience from what I've shared today. That's really that's all I really hope for. um, like I don't I don't want a fancy house. I don't you know yeah, cars are fun to drive, and it'd be cool to drive a Lamborghini at least once, but like whatever, it's just a thing, just stuff. um, it's really cool engineering. Like that's why I think a lot of people love stuff like that, because it's hours and time and attention to like create the perfect whatever, whether and again, I think that's what's great about humanity. Like if we apply ourselves, especially, even the advancement of technology, like it's only like, 100 plus years ago that, you know, people were communicating with telegrams, telephone, like beep 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 beep, and now we're having face-to-face conversations across the screen. That's magic, you know. Um, and what's crazy is like even in like the 1800s, you had people like Nikolai Tesla, right, that envisioned what we're doing right now, and that's where I think like there's something more. Like it's got to be a point to all this. Like I really feel like you know we're going somewhere as a species. Um, I guess closing thoughts would be the way I look at it with everything that's happening. You know, on an individual and like on a collective level, we are living through the end of his story, history, right? A narrative of human events that has been authored or led, directed, right, conventionally by rich white males or dictators, right? So history is ending. And I think what's happening now and the opportunity that we have, and you're already doing on your platform, is a chance to co author a more equal and fair narrative for our entire human family. And I like to think of that as our story. And here we are. Like this is our story. Like I'm excited to go through and you know meet some more of our human family that you've shared and compiled, like, so, like, um, that was again one thing I appreciated right off the bat. Your Instagram, your YouTube, it is like it's very cohesive. It's definitely, you know, scientific and ordered and structured, and I appreciate that because I can't really do that well. I'm more intuitive and flowy. Like, I appreciate order and structure because it makes it easier for me to learn. When I can direct my attention towards learning. So, like, um, yeah, like, you're doing really good work, and um, that really, really been an honor to get to meet you. And I would love to, continue this conversation another time. And like, once the video's up and stuff, like, I'll make sure to share it, with all my friends on, um, like, not just on Poetic Justice, but I have, 1,200 plus friends on one of my Instagram, 300 on another. Like, I think my Wild Wolf Twitter is at, I'm close to 700 over there. And again, it's not numbers, but like, these are humans. Like, most of that's what means a lot to me is over the past couple of years, um, as I've bounced around from platform to platform, I've had this, like, organic growth that happens, from actual conversations like this, and like voice conversations, and that, man, for someone that spent a lot of my life feeling like nobody cares what I have to say, like, I can't begin to explain how much that means to me. To have people go, "Oh, I really appreciate what you have to say," or, "Oh, like, I hadn't thought about it that way, but that makes a lot of sense." Like, that feels pretty good. Um, and yeah, I think, what you're doing here is offering that, not just to me, but to so many others. You know, that's really cool. So,
Can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
absolutely, yes, yes, you may. Do you mind if I read it on my platform?
Yeah, sure. And also, can I put this video and audio clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Yep, yep. You have my express full permission. I only ask that you tag my user name, or put my link tree on there, so that if people are interested, they can come check us out. Check out my personal art, or like, come check us out at Poetic Justice. Again, like, some things are more important than money, and if we can, like, if anything I do or say can bring light into the life of another, or, you know gain another, collaborator and friend in uh, helping to co-author our story. You know what I mean? Like, that would mean the world to me. Literally, the world. Like, that's what we're interested in protecting, and saving, um, and taking care of, some members of our human family that you know don't have access to support that they deserve, that we all deserve. Um, yeah, money will come. But
I'll put your web links in the description of this video. People who finds our video can see the links of yours and can see the work that you are doing. And also, can you please spell your uh, uh, online presence to my podcast people who are listening to this, for not seeing it, for listening it? Can you spell how they can reach you?
okay, yep. So I am on Instagram, um, at symbiosis, SYM_B__. OSIS. Um, I'm also on Twitter at WobbleWolf, which is uh, dub, I believe it's. Let me check actually, because it's spelled slightly different on a couple applications just because of the allowances for how you do a username. So I'm on Instagram at, or not. I apologize to the listeners because I trail off a little bit there. Okay, so um, on Twitter, I'm at WobbleWolf, capital W O B B L E, capital W, lowercase o l f. Poetic Just Us is also on Twitter um, at Swara Bali. It's SWARABALI. Capital S, capital B. I'll spell that one more time. Capital SWARA, capital BALI. It will pop up as Poetic Just Us. I believe you can also search that. Capital POETIC underscore J, capital J, UST underscore US. And then if you check us out on um, Twitter or Instagram, you can find my link tree, which has links to the website for Poetic Just Us. And if you throw us a follow and shoot me a DM on there, I will invite you to our Discord server where we have live conversations and video calls similar to this one. In fact, I would like to extend that invite to you. I'll send it over in the link after um, the podcast. You're more than welcome to join. I'd like for now to keep it relatively organic to the people you know and feel are on a similar wavelength. But I'll send it to you, and if you'd like to come join us over there for a chat at some point, that would be lovely. Um, and yeah, as the community grows, um, we're planning to have like different presentations from different artists. Um, we have channels on the Discord where people can share their art and support each other that way. I'd also like to do like poetry workshops where we have prompts and time to um, yeah, like word prompts and writing a piece during a video call or whatever. We'll probably have some music playing, maybe have somebody doing live art um, on the screen, because you can share screens on there, which is really neat. And I was just talking with another team member today. Ultimately, we want to like put these things into a book, or like condense them on our website in a way that's more user friendly for people that might just becoming introduced to what we're doing, because like that's something that I've definitely seen is even what you and I are doing, what you're doing on your YouTube channel. Like, some people aren't at a level on their journey where they're ready to expand, and sometimes being presented with um, changes or concepts that are too different from their lived experience so far, um, it can be scary. Um, there's this thing called cognitive dissonance. If someone is confronted with information or an understanding of something that is so um, counter to their lived experience, right? Even if it's true, um, they can react in a negative and sometimes even violent way because it's too much to deal with all at once. So, like, it literally puts the brain into fight or flight mode. Um, and I think that's why, again, um, this time that we're living through is very difficult for all of us, for sure. But I think some people are struggling more than others to deal with it because I think especially older generations because they're so used to things being a certain way, right? And like it's changing fast, and I don't think ever things are ever going to go back to the way that they were. And like some people would rather cling to that than that are like, hey, maybe there's new ways of thinking. Maybe there's little small ways that I can change to ride this wave that's happening. You know, um, so that's what we hope to do. Like the Discord server is going to kind of be, the core community, of people that are on this wavelength, right? That people like you and myself are on. Um, I feel like um, we're the guides, the scouts, in a sense. Um, like, and even like some of our elders, like the um, social rights movement, um, even the women's suffrage movement. Okay, these are you know think like big thinkers of the past that have built this energy towards um, a more equitable and fair society for all of us. Um, so I want to make sure as we grow that we pay homage to movements like that, the civil rights movement, that sort of thing. But I think um, what you're doing and what we're trying to do um, at Poetic Just Us, um, and I see many other communities, especially in the like crypto, Web3, NFT realm, which I'm clueless about right now. I'd like to learn a little bit, but I have already made new friends that are willing to share what they've learned about those realms with me. And that's again what's so exciting about modern technology is we have access to meet and connect with people that we might have never met on the street and teach each other and learn and grow together in a way that you know like conventional education just can't do, you know like and instead of you know necessarily like going through like a structured route that an institution says you have to do. you know we have we have these tools and technology that if you want to know about something, you can search it, you can go and learn about it, or you like especially with social platforms, social audio like Twitter Spaces and Discord, you can have a face-to-face conversation with someone and absorb from their like struggles and successes, so that you know yeah, just this expansion of collective consciousness that's happening is really exciting in my opinion. But I think I do have to step away from my screen here pretty soon. Um, I have to use the restroom. Um, Apologies to the viewers and listeners, but a friendly reminder that we're all human out here. This is real life. It's not a sitcom. We don't have commercial breaks. We're humans with bodies and needs. So I think that would be another final thought: is take care of you. If you're watching or listening to this, take care. Don't forget to take care of you too, um, because you're worth it. well worth it.
So thank you, Bali, for giving me opportunity and giving me your valuable time and spending your experience with my audience. And I hope you continue doing your creative work. And I hope you reach a lot of people on this planet with the work that you are doing. And also you spread a lot of positivity. And also you'll take care of your mental and physical health. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. You as well. It was a pleasure to meet you, and I hope we get to continue this conversation another time. Like, you're doing
Yeah.
great. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Happy
Bye.
now, fam.